Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Judy Fox, and I serve as the program manager of the Los Angeles Regional Consortium, also known as LARC, which represents the 19 community colleges across the Los Angeles region. Today's AI professional development session, AI Basics for TK14 educators, is made possible through our partnership with the Los Angeles Office of Education, also known as LACO, and the coordination and vision of LARC's AI task force. And this collaborative work has resulted in over 30 AI professional development opportunities made available for all of you through 2026. Leading today's session is Eduvators Technical Director Raina Walzinger and Instructional Technology Director Linda Delzite. Eduvators empowers educators by demystifying the complexities of AI applications and creating an accessible, user-friendly environment for integrating technology. The goal is to help instructors and administrators foster more engaging and impactful learning environments. And after today's session, we're confident you will walk away more empowered to do just that. Educators team, I turn it over to you.
All right. Good morning, everybody, and thanks for being here. My name is Dr. Rena Walzinger, and I'm very excited to be here. I'll do some introductions. Let me share a deck. We're going to be switching between our deck and then doing some examples for everybody. So as we go along, feel free to ask questions. I'd love for you all to hop on the chat, introduce yourselves, and let us know things that you'd like to learn today as well. That'd be really great for us to see. So we'll be monitoring the chat as well. So a little bit about ourselves. I'll introduce myself first. So I'm currently a faculty in two districts, South Orange County and the Coast Colleges, teaching AI and technology. And we're really busy and very popular down in South Orange County. We're teaching it in non-credit. So I have 100 students down there this semester just for that. I've been teaching for, 25 years or probably longer along the way. And I've been a dean, and I've also spent a lot of my career in industry as a biomedical engineer, and also the chief academic officer of a large XR AI company. I love to travel. I'm a musician also. I'm part of the Grammy organization. I've been there for about 25 years doing music. I play a clarinet, guitar, and bass, and perform all over the place. And it's a little bit about me. So kind of a STEAM person bringing arts and technology together, which makes AI fun. So go ahead, Linda.
Hi, I'm Linda Delzite McIntyre, and I've been teaching at the community college level since 1977. I'm currently teaching in both the LA Community College District and the El Camino College. And I have one K-12 class. It's a current enrollment class that I'm teaching currently. So I've served as faculty technology chair, DE coordinator, department chair, and I've been doing academic technology as a pioneer, pushing it since 1990. So I'm happy to be here with you.
Great. I got one comment that my volume is low. Is that the case? Because I've never had that before. Can you guys hear me okay? Hearing none.
Coming across fine for me.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. So what we're going to do today is, this is kind of basics for TK14 education, but hopefully we'll do some examples, and hopefully you'll put some in the chat that we can do as well that you want to see. It could be about anything. It might be grade specific or things that you do in the classroom or as an administrator. But the three things we're going to talk about is some AI tools that people are using, some hands-on things, and some examples of outputs that you can get, and the most important, ethical AI integration and how that works for students and instructors. So for fundamentals, what is the role in education? It's kind of a interesting time, because up until now in EdTech we had tools that are harder to use with a lot of kind of time to learn how to use them, and now we're in this AI area where there's a box and you can do whatever you think up. So we have a lot more opportunity to be creative, and it's kind of open, and we don't really need to teach how to do things as much as we used to, and it doesn't take as long to ramp up. So some of the things we're going to explore today, and again, if you want to do other things, you can put them in the chat. ChatGPT, of course, being the most common one in the world. Claude, which is the most common coding one for a reason we'll show you today. Gemini, which I think we're getting in the whole community college system. And also there's Google Education in the K-12, so we're all using Google products with this. Perplexity, our favorite research tool, and if we have time, VoiceOver with 11 Labs, and imaging with the last two, Midjourney and Firefly. And so some of the things that we teach people how to do is creating content to go along with curriculum and changing curriculum in terms of there's the text, the video, audio, images, gaming, coding. So a lot of things that we can do now in the education space that were harder to do than they are now for most of us. And then the best practices for using AI in teaching. So, Linda, do you want to do this one? And I'll check out the chat. Well,
Sure. I just responded to somebody in the chat.
thank you.
So there are a lot of reasons to use AI. Now, my personal philosophy since I started back in 1991 is as an educator, I believe it's my responsibility to help my students learn to use the technology to make them successful in life, both on a personal level and as a future productive person in society being employed. I personally think that I need to teach them and give them a safe place to learn the new evolving technology. So when it comes to personalizing student learning, I can do that in a number of ways. I can give personalized feedback through some of the AI tools. Let's see, is this working? You have control of it. Can you go to the next one? Yeah,
Yes.
it's not responding to me.
Gotcha.
So saving times on administrative tasks is another one. Helping using AI to develop lesson plans that you might have to submit or write curriculum or help with lesson course outlines, notes for your students that you might post to the learning management system, enhancing lesson design creativity. I can create customized images, video, provide real-time feedback. One of my favorite is the PlayLab AI now, because I can create role-playing scenarios and have my students go there and practice their skills over and over and over again. And it provides feedback, things that I don't have time to do. Even if I had 100 office hours a week, they wouldn't attend and I couldn't give it to them. I don't have time in class. So it's really important that they get some of that feedback through the AI mechanism for my classes. I can support diverse learners. I can add the ability to do different languages on certain things. I can transcribe and make the options available. Next ones.
Yep.
All right, I certainly touched on prepare students for the future. My personal opinion again is I tell my students AI probably won't take your job, but somebody who knows AI might take your job because they have not only your skills, but they have the AI and they may keep the job that you would lose. Okay. So it's important for them to learn how to do AI and how to do it correctly. So AI is great at doing data analysis much faster than we are. Certainly, everyone who attends and does professional growth and efficiency, you're continuing to stay relevant in your field and you get flex credit if you're at the community college level. Is there any more, Rena? All right. So remaining relevant is always important. And then ethical awareness, what AI can and can't do, and what dangers you might be exposing your students to using AI, using the wrong AI, allowing your students or encouraging your students to use AI in an unsafe way. So all of those things are important to learn to use AI correctly.
And I just want to mention on the data analytics. So I had a meeting yesterday with Apple, and we learned from them that both Apple and Microsoft and other companies have servers on campus that you could have and you can put data in there and have the AI access it without going out to the web. And so, if you're interested in that end of things in the back end, IT, they meet with IT and show you how to put like all your like looking at program reviews or getting ready for accreditation data all together, and you can use AI to help analyze it. What you can't do is do that kind of in the cloud right now with because of data security. So you couldn't put like student information in there. So that is coming along. So again, these are the main ones we're talking about today. And I saw in the chat somebody mentioned Google Notebook LM, so we'll include that as well, part of the Google landscape. In Google Notebook is very powerful, and it's one of the things actually we're getting in our system for all of the colleges, and I think the K-12s have it as well. So these are just kind of the most popular use ones, but you'll see a lot of AI, and when I have students go, it's interesting. They don't really know what are the most popular besides ChatGPT. So they, like if I ask them to go vibe code something, and I'm talking about, I have students from middle school all the way to 90 years old, but the students will just find random ones that they found on social media. So it's very interesting. They don't know which ones are the safest ones to use and have safeguards. And so that's something that is kind of our responsibility as educators to tell them. So that's one of the things I hope you get out of this today. And here's kind of the landscape of what we consider safe, some of the safe tools to use. Why? Because they don't steal copyright stuff. Like Adobe Firefly is a great example. When I have them, I intentionally ask students, and I'll show you in there, try to put in something that's like a figure or like something from a famous movie or whatever, and it won't do it. It has guardrails around copyright. And so other ones will, like Grok. So, in class, we ask them not to use those ones that are less safe. But all these are kind of the safe ones in 4 different categories. The AI assistants are used to image generators, video generators, and graphic design. Any questions so far? Okay. Do you want to take this one, Linda?
Sure. Again, I think we're repeating ourselves, but
Yeah.
protecting student data is very critical for all of us. So the searches, the interactions should not be used for large language model training. And so if you go into the web browser and you just use Copilot, it's going to use that. Okay. So nothing you put there is going to be private. But if the students go through their student Microsoft account and the campus allows them to use Copilot as part of their account, then it's private. Okay, the same thing with Google Gemini. So if you go in and you create a Google Gemini Pro account, which all of the community college students and teachers can do, a Google Gmail plus your campus college email, even if it's Microsoft, you get a free Gemini Pro. That is secure versus going out into the browser by itself. So how you get to these large language models is important. It's important for all of us to have our colleges and our districts have those campus agreements so that we know our students are safe. Going into incognito mode will also be another technique to help keep our students safe. But we got to teach our students to do these things. So there are age restrictions. The under 18 are different than the over 18. So you can't always get the free accounts when you're under 18. A lot of people that don't want to deal with the minors and the additional complications. So the college students are better unless they're K-12. But the Gemini Pro is good until June 2026. Canva is another one that's free for students and teachers. Khan Academy, and then Copilot if you go through your Microsoft account.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna switch for a second to just so you can see how to get to it. Because I have this a lot that students are trying to find it. So in like Google, let's see, Gemini for students, and then I can show you how to find it. So they have a a free plan for students, and you can get the offer, but you do need, like Linda said, a Gmail. It tells you how to do it, but it has unlimited images, uploads, and really great stuff in there. So uh, you need a Gmail and you need your student EDU or teacher EDU account to do it, because Google, when you're in there, it actually is your Gmail, but it gives you the free account by signing up with your EDU. So you kind of need both to do it, if that makes sense. That's confusing. I usually do it in class, and it's very confusing for folks to figure that out. But it's really the most comprehensive one right now as far as video, images, the text, and the data analytics. So on Google Notebook LM and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're going to show you in a little bit.
Can I insert something here, Rena?
Yeah.
One of the really cool things about getting a Gemini account is I could give my students some prompts for one of the role playing and say, copy these prompts, go into your Gemini, put it in, and then use your phone, and you can completely talk. You don't have to text. It's completely talk. You can play the first aid scenario here as a rescuer. AI plays the victim. And then another one flips it. You're playing the victim. They're playing the rescuer. You also have new tools like Google Earth Studio. You've got the Gemini AI Tutor, Google Storybook. So once you get the Gemini, and the Google, you can get a lot of other tools that are AI. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll go through those in a little bit live. So we find that these have kind of strengths, each one, and I think they're pretty important to understand when you're starting out. And I find that the more I teach this, the more my students, at least, are able to go from kind of one to the other and share for specific reasons. And so it's good to know what the strengths are. And most of us have done ChatGPT, and it does writing, but it doesn't write like a human usually. And so you can kind of tell, and that's one of the things sometimes students don't realize. It doesn't write the way you would write. But if you're doing something like what I tell people do it, people use it for like itineraries, or not essays, right? Other things, itineraries, explaining something, making a table, other useful things, but not essay writing. It can give you ideas. Some students tell me they use it for topic sentences, so some things like that. Anthropic is the best one right now for coding. It looks really good. It makes nice, accessible coding and colors and text size, and it understands all of the accessibility laws and rules, and so it works really well for that. It doesn't do images, but it does writing better than ChatGPT, and it's because the way it's trained on books. In fact, they just got sued, and they're paying, I think it's like $100 billion or something, for that. They took books right out all over the place and then trained itself on books, and that's why it writes better than the other ones. But that wasn't all legal, so they're paying a fee for that. But nevertheless, now it writes better than the other ones. Google has the biggest kind of ecosystem with images, text, and video. In fact, their video model Veo 3 inserts music and sound effects, and people love that. I love teaching that. It's really fun, and it's integrated with Google products, so you can ask it, and we'll do this in a little bit, about YouTube videos, about maps, and things in the Google universe, and it works really well for those types of questions. Perplexity is the best research tool because the way it was trained, which was it indexed the internet. It was a company way before AI, and they took all of that indexing the internet and put it in AI format. So it cites everything. It's very factual based. It adds follow-up questions for you. It gives you image and video alternatives to make it into kind of an article format. So that's why. So when I do research, I always look at Perplexity and look at the sources. In fact, that's something that sources are really important in this world, because sometimes computers will find a link that is like it says page not found, and the AI cannot differentiate a link versus something that doesn't have information on it. So you have to go check all of that whenever there's sources. Perplexity is the best at not giving you wrong links, in fact. And then there's Copilot that works within the Microsoft world really well. It helps you with Word documents. You can go in Excel, and if we have time today, we'll do that. You can like add a column and say, tell it to do whatever you want, and it'll add the stuff, do the formulas. And so Excel is much faster now, and that's one that companies as well use a lot. And so Copilot's there. Again, it works well within its own Microsoft ecosystem.
So Rena, just back on that slide, I would encourage the next time you have to write a teacher's letter, maybe to a parent, write it and then go to Claude and ask them to make it softer or make it nicer, and it'll come out and it'll be unbelievably fantastic. So if you're one of those that spends time writing student letters, Claude will help.
Exactly. So, and I'm going to go through these a little bit, and then I'm going to hop over to these apps. So, but let's continue on. So before we go hopping in, prompts. So I have a kind of love-hate relationship with prompt engineering, and there's a specific reason why, is it keeps changing. So some of these, you do a prompt and it'll actually all of a sudden turn into a paragraph, and it redoes your prompt for you and makes it more understandable, and which you can edit for the AI. So, but the main things are, these ideas is to be, some people just want to put in 1 or 2 words, and then it'll usually give you an error and say it's too short. So you need a few words. Some people put in like paragraphs and paragraphs. I do that in industry. I did that where we have 20 pages of information about the company and all this stuff that it's doing. So on the back end, engineers like myself will prompt something. Like I was prompting avatars to teach lessons, so there were very long prompts. For us in this world, it's usually pretty short. As teachers, it might be like, make a table for this lesson, and then, give some exercises, something like that. And then context is important, because is it for other professors? Is it for students? What grade are they in? And then it'll give you a different type of output depending on the grade. And the way I teach that actually is I have everybody in my teaching classes make poems with different authors, and then for different levels. And you can see the AI changing the output. It's really interesting. And then adding some visuals to that. Any descriptive language. So if you want it to be casual, professional, funny, rhyming, serious, whatever, short. A lot of times it'll write something for me that's too long, like my LinkedIn post. It's like I don't need it to be 5 paragraphs long. So a lot of times I have to add some more words in there to get it to output it how I want. And then once it outputs it, I always revise, or I usually write my stuff and just have it edit, because I don't like AI to write my stuff. Iterate. So my very best students are good at iterating, where you might ask it 5, and I usually use 5 to 10 times to change what its output till you get what you want. It's never going to give you what you want on the first time or second time for sure. And then again, how long you want it to be.
Another thing you could do is keep a collection of your prompts. So if you have a folder and title each Word doc what you have that prompt to do, then you can go back and you can recycle them and modify them easier. So if you're looking to save time, there's another time management technique.
Yeah, I was going to say on that. And a lot of people have this question, and this is a good one, and I learned this from teaching. So it does save your stuff on the left, and almost all the apps have the same kind of convention now. They'll save them, but if you use, and I'm using a web browser, chatgpt.com. All of my AIs, no matter what I use, if I'm in Claude, same thing. It'll save them on the left on my chats. So, but if I use an app on my desktop, it does not do that. So, and I was wondering, like, I'm watching people sharing their screen, and then they're like, it's not saving, and I'm seeing it's not saving, and then I realized if you do it on your desktop, it's your own. It's an internal process. It doesn't save in their cloud. So if you're doing maybe something more private or whatever, that's an idea. But if you want your chat saved, and the nice thing about saving it, it starts to kind of get to know you and remember your style of output, and so it'll write and respond to you based on your previous experiences with it, which is very handy so you're not starting from scratch. And also, this button, the temporary chat on the very right, if you're doing something like I want to ask about maybe a specific lesson or maybe something that I don't want it to remember or share, I can turn on. It's kind of like incognito mode in the internet world. This button does not appear in the app version that's on. It's not the web browser, but the app version because you're already not in their cloud. So that's another thing I found out. This only appears in the web browser version, the temporary chat. So if you're doing something like, oh, I'm thinking about this rubric and this grade, and you don't want to share that with ChatGPT, you can just turn this on. It will not save on the left, and it'll do a temporary chat. So I find that really useful. I tell people if they're asking like personal questions about medicines or something personal in their life, maybe injuries, whatever, that, turn on incognito mode over here with the temporary chat. They all have that feature now. All right. Okay, it looks like it keeps changing places. It's probably my fault. Okay, so we are here. Okay, so I have some examples here on just some outputs, and then I want to show you these in probably in ChatGPT to start with, but you can do and how to use it and how not to use it for students. I really like the new Study and Learn, which is what I want to show you. And here's some examples for asking students. Students can use it for getting ideas, topic sentences, editing ideas, and when I meet with student panels, they ask like when we should do it. They really, a lot of them, most of them want to know, like they don't know what's ethical and not ethical, so they might not know that copying an entire thing that AI writes and putting it in there is plagiarism, for example. And so there's a good way to use it and ways not to use it. So we're going to go over these, but and math as well, like instead of giving you the answer, it will give you like the steps and ask you questions. Now they have with the Study and Learn mode, you can do all kinds of really interesting stuff into history. And then my favorite part is doing the art because there's so many more things that you can do with it to kind of enhance your lessons. Anything on that, Linda?
No, I would suggest that if you are teaching and you feel strongly about what your will and will not let your students do, make sure it's in your syllabus, make sure it's in every single assignment, that they are informed and they're not guessing. That's the easiest way to get your students to do what you want them to do and not have to discipline them.
And by the way, if you have stuff you want me to try and hear while I'm demonstrating, go ahead and put it in the chat. So I have the paid version of ChatGPT. It's one of the couple that I pay for because I like these extra modes. The agent mode will, if I wanted to go out on the internet and be me and do stuff, order my flights or send food over here, whatever, that's agent mode, or redo my calendar. But it also has Study and Learn. And this is the one where I tell students, and students have Study and Learn, and all of the AIs have been encouraged to do this so that it doesn't just give you answers and they cheat. So if I go like, I want to learn about, I'm not even formatting it right, watch this, a squared, and I'm not even putting squared, but it's going to understand me, equals c squared. So it's going to now reformat that and talk about this math problem, which is hopefully goes, okay, there it goes. So now it's reformatting it, and it's, so I can talk to it now, and then I can do a problem with it, and it'll explain the steps, a lot like Conmigo does, instead of just giving me answers. So it'll explain the theorem, and now I can say, okay, what if A equals 3 and B equals 4, and then let it go through and ask me questions. So it'll go through the steps. It's kind of like the way that we teach math already, but instead of just, here's the answer to that question, so it's going to ask me, what are the squares of those numbers based on that equation, and then go from there. So I really like Study and Learn for almost any topic. So there it's asking me about the squares, and I can do that, and it'll iterate through. So that's a much better way to use AI, because you're learning and you're learning the steps instead of just like, what's the answer to this question that you pasted in from your homework. In fact, students can take a picture of their whole homework, put it on there with this plus button. They can just add a photo from their phone of their whole homework and ask for all the answers. So I think as a teacher, we're like, okay, well, you're going to need to learn this and then solve these on a test, and so in class, and so here's how to learn it. So that's kind of why it's important to know what these do. Same for almost any subject. If you have an essay, I tell them, to write it. You can get editing ideas if you want, or if you get a writing block, ask it a question, but don't, once you start writing, have it right in here. It doesn't come out right anyways. So the same in, I'm going to go over here to Claude. So you can see it has learn mode. So you can create rubrics, design curriculum, and so it puts it kind of in a framework of doing that, meaning somebody at Anthropic made a long prompt saying, I'm going to be a teacher, I'm going to design a curriculum, this is the output I want to be doing. So somebody's already done that. So it's already prompted it. And then it'll be like, ask you the questions as an instructor what you want to do. So again, that's why prompt engineering is, it kind of sometimes does it for you. And so now I can talk about a curriculum. So let's do one fast. Let's make a project, something I've taught. So, and then it'll go through and it'll start doing stuff for you that you can use as a guide, or you don't have to use it, but it gives you ideas. And it goes, and you can see it's asking about pedagogy, which is what I like to just give you an output. So that's how these work. Claude and ChatGPT are really good at the study and learn mode. Any questions on that so far? Okay. So here's some other examples in give me ideas. I do this a lot for workshops, or like if I'm going to do like a week-long thing at a high school, summer school or something, like let's design a week-long program, and here's when lunch is going to be and break's going to be, and here's the ages of everybody, and here's how many students, and then all the topics, and go through. So there's some prompts, give me some project ideas, and then in English, you can do things that they've never done before. So typically I end up making my assignments harder, and that's what I advise people to do. Like if you've written an essay, maybe you can do like a storyboard about that essay, or you can make new characters. And those are things that we didn't add before, but you can make your assignments more complex so that they can learn about AI but still do the written assignment that they're supposed to. Real world visualizations in math, that's something that we lacked, for sure I did, until about sometime in university level, that they can do. History, there's some really fun things in history that you can do. And infographics is a great one. Actually, infographics is great in science too, and art, doing almost anything in any subject. So talking about that, it'd be a good time to go and try a couple things. So I'm going to go into, I think Gemini's a little bit faster. So when you're doing art in class, ChatGPT is pretty slow. It takes about 2 minutes to get an image. Gemini is pretty fast. There's one that's paid called Midjourney that's super fast. But you can ask Gemini, and it has tools. So you can have images, videos, Canvas, which is going to give you kind of some writing tools and coding tools, and deep research. And so this is my pro account that I have free as a teacher, by the way. You'll see the little pro up here in my area. And it has a banana here. They came out with a new version a week ago called Nano Banana that everybody's going crazy on. It just works really well. So like for a class, I could say, make an infographic on photosynthesis and just let it go. And it's pretty fast, and it it'll use that image generation and then do it. And you can turn it into a video with sound and everything in Google. It's super comprehensive, but you can see how instead of 2 minutes, it took about 10 seconds. And then even from there, you can say change to my brand colors for my school. I don't like these words, change it to other words, or you can put another picture in and say add this in there, and it'll iterate from there. And you can see the change in this is actually I see stuff spelled wrong. Let's see if I can fix that. Respell. Whoops, I hit go too fast. It spelled chlorophyll wrong. I don't like it when it misspells. So, let's see if it finds it. No, it didn't fix it. So, you have to be careful with that too. It looks like it's like 90% right, but before you use it for teaching, you gotta go fix stuff. So, I don't know why it's spelling that wrong. Interesting. So, this is probably the fastest image generator. You can do this in Copilot also. ChatGPT has one, but it's pretty slow. And then, or if you want to do like, let's do a new chat. Like, make a great project for history missions, 5th grade, California. And then it'll give you some ideas for your project. So typically, we have these projects that we've been doing forever, and this might give you some new ideas. Like in classes, you can have students design a mission before they make one and make certain changes and different things that a little bit more than we could do before, because that's what AI does. It kind of expands the horizons of outputs that you can do, and it'll give you a project, blueprint, whatever. Looks like it's going to do some kind of image as well. And so you can see how quickly this happens in Gemini. Any questions on that? So let's, just for fun, since we're in here, let's see if it'll do this. Without an image, create a working mission from. So another thing in visualizations, like we have our normal videos that we watch everything, but sometimes students, especially in, well, actually all grades, like literally my seniors are super excited about this. Creating new things that to share and learn from and based on your ideas. And it kind of cements for a lot of learners what they're reading into their brain. And so I think that, visualization is a powerful tool for students to add on to lessons that you can do now. So, and students will have access to this again for free from Google. And again, the state is going to be providing Google EDU to everybody coming up shortly. So this takes a little bit longer. It's just generating images. And while it's doing that, you can see some other things I've created. You can create your own scaffolded thing. So within your subject, I created one that makes storybooks, one that makes comic pages. I could be just doing one for a certain type of math problems. I can create my own. They're called gems, pieces of Google that framework around what I want to do. So let's see what this did. So it did like the modern day San Juan Capistrano. So that's pretty interesting. So if I said, in the 1800s or something, would have been something different. But this is very new technology. It's got sound and everything in it. You can download and share. And so super powerful stuff. Okay. There's something in the chat. Okay. We're good so far. So, yeah, I love teaching that stuff. It's super fun. Okay, so I did make sure I didn't skip anything here. Yeah, okay. So I did a couple things ahead of time for this training. So this is a little visualization prompt from Apollo 11. I love talking about space anyways. So I had this prompt, and you can actually ask any of these I did this in ChatGPT to do a prompt. And I don't know, am I sharing my PowerPoint? I think I am.
Yes, you're sharing.
All right, make sure. So there's a lot of kind of descriptive text in here. So I can make a prompt and then ask it to go embellish my prompt in order for me to make an image or a video out of it. So I could put like moon landing and some things, and then I usually ask it just to make a prompt for me to get ready to make an image. So you can see it, things that I wouldn't have probably typed that I wouldn't have thought of, like cinematic, wide angle view, ultra realistic, all these different adjectives. And basically, so many people have prompted now, you can just start making a prompt and then ask it to make it better and improve it for you. So, first thing it did is I got kind of highlights of what I want to be doing in this image. So these are the different elements that are going to be in this image. And then that's important because in the world of AI, you can add images in there. Like if I had a certain American flag, I can be reference this flag, or reference this this space capsule, or reference this astronaut, or I can just have it do it from scratch. So the more you put in there in terms of information and images, the better your output always is. So then I got this from the video. So this one is without sound, but it got the flag and it did it all. And then I just, I used Midjourney to turn my little image into a little video. So that would be something that goes along with that science lesson. And here's another one, then I'll show you how this kind of works. And I'm pretty much addicted to Midjourney, just as it's one of the two that I pay for besides ChatGPT. This one I pay annually, it's like $120 a year, but as a teacher, I use these assets and a presenter for a lot because it's so easy. And so that $8 a month is for me well spent. I'm not advertising for Midjourney, just telling you what I do. So this is one on a poster about the cycle of water and how that works for grade school. And here's the have education focus and all the things I asked it to do. And then it made this graphic, which I thought was fun. So it started out as an image and it went into a graphic. And I'm going to share that for a minute. I'm going to go to a new, let's see if I can there we go, zoom out of the way. And then show you what this looks like. Whoops. There we go. So in this, I was doing this all day yesterday teaching. So this is a place to make images and videos very easily. And you can see like all kinds of things going on in here. And then, so the way I teach it is really simple. Like we always like animals, is if you click on anything, you can see what the prompt is. And that's how I suggest learning about these, whether you're using, the two that do the prompts for you already are Midjourney and Adobe Firefly. You can see everybody's prompts and you can learn from there, and you can use that text to start, and then you can create something. So looks like they're having issues over there at Midjourney right now. So these are some that I made in the past. And all you have to do is make an image, and then you hit animate. So let me just go to one I already made. So like I made these, I wanted these animals to talk to each other about getting along. And then just hit animate, and it just creates another four things that become videos. So I didn't have to tell it like, make this thing do this, make that thing. I didn't have to tell it like what to do. Just hit animate, and it'll understand the picture and decide how it will animate it. I can tell it like, have the whale jump over the sea lion and then talk to each other. But what's amazing about this is it just animates without, it figures this out. Like I made an image of this little pug walking in the street we were doing class yesterday, and then I just clicked it. So it figured out it was going to walk, and its necklace was going to move, and its eyes were going to move. So it's gotten pretty advanced based on all of the stuff it's learning on how we prompt, how we've prompted in the past. So that's why I use Midjourney, and then you could just download these and put them in a PowerPoint, put them in lessons. They're just very easy to use, and it saves everything you've done. It has a complex editor you can use if you're a graphic person and you wanted to add, change colors, add things, change the size, almost anything, add text. So let's just see what this does. This one doesn't do sound, but I use Canva for that, which is another app that in K-12 we have for free. In community college, that isn't free. So here's bunch of videos of that it made, and you saw like about a minute. It's pretty amazing. Okay.
Serena, we have a question maybe you can answer. The question is, are you aware of any summer camps or courses geared towards high school students? Not all
Yes.
teachers are comfortable teaching AI, and as a parent, I want to offer this to my child.
Yes. So I'll tell you the ones that I know about that. So, uh, and I'm in Orange County. So, but there are organizations that have summer camps that are the ones that I know about. And you're in LA, but CLAOC, Vital Link, Orange County Department of Ed, and then certain districts have the summer camps for AI, and they usually hire people like me who are college instructors to go teach those. And then we have like week-long camps, and we teach how to do all the stuff and do projects with the kids. And a lot of the times, I did one that blew me away. I was teaching. I had a lot of things. I gave them like 10 minutes to form teams after they introduce each other, make a logo, form a company, and then they all used vibe coding and made amazing things like mental health for athletes, or like how to get band instruments free at your school, or all kinds of things that I wouldn't have thought of. And those camps are amazing. Blew me away so much that I invited their parents at the end to come and see what they were doing. So they learn how to work together in a team, have roles, all work together, create something over a few weeks, and then present it like a professional company. So middle school, a little bit less formal, but learning these tools and then using their phones a lot to create assets and all that. So they're everywhere, and maybe through Judy we can kind of search when that comes up and find the ones that are existing in LA and send them to you guys. It's probably not that hard to find out.
Thank you, Rena.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something that was a good question. So the next one, perplexity, is again, it's something that I love for this, and Google LM I love for research, and I'm going to show you those next because they work differently and they're trained very differently than all of the other stuff that I showed you so far. So they look different too. So why don't I just pop over in there, and then I've got some ones that I did ahead of time as well, but just so you can see what it looks like. So again, luckily for us, all of the companies, they made one box. They made some kind of options. By the way, they all have a microphone and voice mode. So if you don't want to type, you can just talk to it with your computer or your microphone. I'm typing in here because it's a little easier while I'm presenting. So this one, and it does have all my previous chats as well in here. So they're going to all come up, and it has topics. This is something that I use a lot for classes to show, like, if you're not sure what to do, you can see what topics other people are doing. Looks like it's a little slow for me right now. So let's just do it. It gives you like ideas, but let's do a study on let's see. Okay, I like soccer, so let's do this. Let's do a little sports study, and you'll see it's going to start getting information, and it gives you the sources where they came from. So this looks very different from all the other ones, and it'll give me like what's going on in the season. So if any topic, I could do this for like a historical subject, current topics, anything. It even broke it out into a table, gave me stats, and then what it does at the bottom. And each thing I can go in there and click and see if it's like the right sources. And one of the things I've noticed over time is instead of just Wikipedia, they've now got other, like the sources I would go to without doing this. I'd go to ESPN and all that, Sky Sports. And it gives you follow-up questions. And so it always does that. So it's a really great way to research a topic, to get information. It'll give you images that goes along with that search. It'll give you videos, all of the sources right here. So this is, again, if you're researching a topic, this is a great way to do it. It could be in any subject at all. And what people do is under Discover, they've put in articles, and people with the pro versions can do like do this and it makes an article style out of that search. So this is about quantum entanglement and cross-chip assets, and you can see they did the same thing, it brings in the images, videos, makes an article style out of all that with all the citations as well. So it's a great way as well for students to be let's discover about, it's a certain kind of chemistry or whatever. They can go do it here and share what they learn. So that's Perplexity, basically research tool. It's not for imaging or videos or anything. Perfect research tool for getting stuff together and also looking at other people's research. They have a breadth of information. The other one is Google Notebook that was mentioned here already. But let me go in there, Google, I can type, there we go. So Google Notebook is fabulous. I've done a lot of notebooks. Again, they add features, I'd say every couple of weeks. So if I create the best thing to do here is have a Google Drive or a OneDrive or something and have all your papers in there that you've already gathered and then add to there. But I didn't do that today, so I'm just going to be discovering something myself. So let's research ethical AI. Let's say in K-12, K-14. So what it's going to do, it's just a vacuum cleaner out there. It's going to go find stuff. And because it's Google, it'll find, I can add YouTube videos, which I'm going to do after if it doesn't find it itself. And then I can get information. It's got PDFs, documents. Let me import these sources. And I'm going to ask it to add some more stuff to here. I don't think it found videos. Find YouTube videos. Let's add that as well. So in the world of Google, it does maps. Again, Google Maps, videos, anything that Google has it learns on that. Then once I do that, I can make my favorite stuff is over here. Flashcards is new, by the way. This is something that I found really useful. I'm actually made my own flashcard app, and now it's just right here. I can put in anything about a class or like all the policies in my school, maybe about AI, for example. Put them in there, and I can make reports on that. It's reading all that stuff. I can make anything based on those documents. So I can make a study guide, a briefing doc, a review, flashcards, a podcast, a video, a white paper. So let's make a white paper, and it's going to be generating these things that I ask it to do. So this is very different than the way Perplexity works, obviously. It's a gathering, then it reads all the things. So if you just put, like, policies is a great way, frameworks, Google Scholar, peer-reviewed research, and then you can generate content based off of that. So it's generating all of the stuff I asked it to do, reports, flashcards, and I think a summary. That's what it's generating right now. It's going to take a minute, so, and I see there's a couple things on the chat. Anything, Linda, I need to address?
Yeah, I said, somebody asked to name the organizations, the K-12 camps, and I said, you'll provide current information to Judy and they can get information from.
Yeah, I mean, they're not out yet, so that's going to have to come. So here's flashcards on this topic. And so let me go into here. It just generates all the different things I asked it to do. So and it's all in the studio. So I've got flashcards now based on all these things. I've got a report coming and a white paper. So it's basically, I wish I had this when I was doing giant papers, but let's say you're preparing for even just a lesson. You can put everything in there from like PDF books, podcasts, YouTube's, everything, and then make lessons based on that. I use it for white papers sometimes on certain topics, and then it'll give me some ideas on how to formulate that white paper. It's still going through, but so Google Notebook's pretty easy to use, and it's basically once you hit discover or adding sources, that's pretty much all you have to do, and then you can create assets based off of that. So any questions? also you can change the style of how the output is. So it keeps adding features every time I open it.
You might just do a quick podcast demo because those are so cool.
Okay. I saw this on LinkedIn this morning. Somebody was explaining some career thing with XR, and it was all this coming from Google Notebook. So it looks like it's generating a little bit slower than I had hoped for this, but it's generating it. I could come back and look at that though when it's done in a little bit. So it'll just have a podcast style discussion on the topic based on all of the content. And if I only want one of these sources, I can just unclick all the other ones and it'll just use the sources I select. If I want to add more sources, there they are. I can add any of these types of resources. So my normal would be, like I do this for program review, I put information in with de-identified student information, put them in my Google thing, and then my Google Docs and my Google Drive, and then just say, use that. And then I can ask questions about all the things I'm doing for program review in college. It's one way I use it. It might take a little while to do this, so I might skip that till later. It's got the flashcards done, the rest of the stuff isn't done yet. Let's see if I can get it to do anything. Oh, okay. We'll get back to that. It's taking a little while. Okay, there's some more questions in the chat there. Okay.
I'm answering one. There is one question here. Can you do videos from a PowerPoint or a PDF now in the free version of Notebook LM?
You can't do videos in Google Notebook LM. So all the videos and PowerPoints that I create are all the ones that I do are from Midjourney mostly. So I create the images and the videos there. Sometimes the images I create in Gemini. So my two favorite places are Gemini with Veo 3 that I showed and Midjourney. The one in ChatGPT called Sora isn't really working that great, so I don't really use that one right now. It does make videos, but it's got some issues. And then in Copilot itself, it's not really a good video engine, so I just create them in Midjourney and slide them over usually. All right. So here's my thing on Perplexity. It's good, again, a great place to brainstorm, but also teach students about citations and sources, and that they need to know that we're looking at their sources. So if they just like copy and paste stuff from a LLM, it's going to give you a lot of fake links that aren't real sources. And so this is a good way to teach, like, what do these look like, the good sources, and how do we know as teachers where they come from, and how should you know? And then here's a little project. So I asked it to do this, and here's all the stuff I put in there, and I made this image that kind of, this came right from Perplexity. It gives you images and stuff, doing, kind of a historical view of a mission that may be like, this is not a real one, but based on the prompt. So it did all of that, which is pretty neat. So that's what I wanted to show on Perplexity. So I'm going to switch over. Let me just check the chat really fast if I'm missing anything. Okay, I think we're okay. On Claude. So whoops. Get it to go back. So on Claude, I did this, and I'm going to show you Claude in a second. Claude is a really easy way to make, students love this. Our students grew up in the age of kind of Minecraft and all of that, gaming, and you can make interactive content for them. They can make interactive content, which they do amazingly with ease. And Claude, ChatGPT, and Gemini are the three places to do this. So I asked it on Claude to make a little app about the government and the different branches. And I'll show you how easy it is. It's really worth kind of seeing how fun this is. So the way I usually teach people to start is just to make a quick game, like make a quick tic-tac-toe auto game, and you'll see what it does. It'll go and it should go into the coding mode, which is called an artifact, and it is doing that. It gives you 2 pages, and then it starts doing, this is Python, or I could ask it to do HTTP, which is for the web, and it'll give you this, and then you can play this game, change the colors and all that. Or I can say, I can add to that and say, let's have names and team names and scores and whatever. What I like about this for teaching is, and this is pretty new, you can copy the code, which most people really don't want to see all that, which is all of this, which is using React, or you can just publish it. So now, both in here and in ChatGPT and Gemini, you get a public link that you can share with everybody. So it's kind of like sharing from your Google Drive. And this makes life easy because in the world of education, most of us don't use GitHub. I mean, some of us do, but these other coding things, we're not coders, we're educators. So this is a great addition to this world. Now we can make interactive lessons without having to go into that whole world of GitHub and all that. I use GitHub, but it's complicated. There's a lot of steps around that. So I can go into coding mode. It gives me some examples, but let's do that. Let's do one for, let's show you how, let's make an interactive game to learn about. I'll do that one that I just did, branches of government in the U.S. for, let's say, 6th grade. And I've done this from everything to like, doctoral programs in quantum mechanics and, professors doing this. It'll do whatever level you need it to do. Sometimes, and I didn't do it here, I ask it to make it for the web, HTTP, but that's because it didn't used to have this publish button. So now I don't have to do that anymore, which is great. I can just let it do what it wants to do. And then, again, this is just the same as any other prompt. If you don't like the output, which you won't, you can ask it to fix it. So I usually go back, say, please make it accessible, add my school colors and all of that. So now I've got a little thing here, and I can go back and ask it to do colors. And so this is for me, it's mind-blowing. And what students do with these is they make entire businesses for people, websites and everything, stuff that I could never think up, and most of us can't. But you can see how fast that is, and you can share this. You can put it inside of Google Classroom or Canvas as well. And so there's some tricks to embedding, which that's kind of the next step, because like YouTube gives us embed codes, this gives us a link, but that's probably the next step. I can see right now they're going to give us a link, but I don't see an embed code. So that'll probably be the next thing that comes out, so we can embed this within our lessons. Any questions? I think this is the most powerful and fun thing in all of AI for me right now, by the way. No questions. If you could think up while I'm doing this, something that you think would be fun to do in Claude, I'd love you to put it in the chat. And maybe we can try some too and see how they work. So you can see on this one, I had it change the colors to Educator's colors, our colors kind of purple and pink, and then do a whole game with different pages. It's more like an interactive lesson that students would be doing. So those are the first 2 pages of my application that I made. The next one, I like this because it's so safe. If you use something like Grok or like Leonardo, and those are other ones that will make any images and break all the copyrights. So they go out and train on everything. So I can say make stormtroopers or make Disney characters and all that. And so I love to show students that it does that, but that's not, you're going to be not able to use those images. These images are original images. They're not copyrightable. None of these are copyrightable because you're not drawing them yourself, but you can use them in lessons without, you're not violating any copyright, but you need to cite them, like made in Adobe Firefly 2025. So there's citations for these. And so the Adobe Firefly, everybody has like 100 credits. I think it's I can't remember if it's a day, but you can do 3 images at a time. Some schools have Firefly as 1,000 credits. I think it's a month, and that's what I have. And then I think because we're doing an agreement with Adobe for the state, that most of us are going to have enough credits to teach with this tool. But I even teach with the free one, and I love it again because it's a safe space to do this. And there's another reason I love it is it gives you, instead of doing prompt engineering, it gives you what you would do in a prompt. And so even just as a reference tool, it's important to know about this. So what is aspect ratio? Okay, so here's the different aspect ratios. Other apps, there's no other ones that exist that tell you these things. So just to teach about, oh, I want a wide screen to 16:9, or portrait is 3:4, or landscapes 4:3. It tells you what they are. So even just as a reference to another tool like Gemini, it's good to know these. Do you want an art thing or a photo thing? Or do you want it to just pick it based on what your prompt is? So that's another choice. Composition, do you want line art? Do you want, which type of art do you want? Or do you have a reference image that you already drew that's it's gonna use as a reference? What kind of style? Is it like sci-fi? Is it like art? Is it, what are all the styles? That's a big one because styles are, if you're not an artist, like you might not know what styles are available. So it gives you like hundreds of different styles. Cubism, Art Nouveau, 3D, all these different styles. And so this is, again, if you're doing art in another place, you could learn from this one based on what all the different choices are. So I think it's fantastic. And then again, you can put your own reference in there. Maybe you've done your own art. And then on the bottom is effects. So again, this is really important as well. So it could be, this is like layered paper, hyper realistic, different materials that you can use. And I've seen these things made out of fur, made out of fabric, made out of metal, all kinds of things. And then the bottom ones are color tones, lighting, so backlit, front lit, whatever, and then camera angle from the bottom, from the top, a close up, all of that. So unless you were an artist or like me, a photographer, videographer, most of these would be probably unfamiliar. So for all my students, I'm like, this is really important, just as the Bible of things that you should know about prompts. The other Bible is in the galleries. So this is the other one that you can click on anything and see what the prompt is. And so, and if they used any of those choices on the left. So it's very good for learning. So if they do use choices, let's see if I find one with choices that they used. It pops up on the bottom. Those didn't. So let me try this one. So that one didn't either, just prompts. And by the way, it has a model we can't use called Image 4. None of us have that. It's an advanced one. This one, I'm going to guess, has. So most of them do not have like things that they chose on the bottom. They just put prompts in there. So you can prompt anything. Or like if I like this bird. This is one of my favorites. So, and then I can change something about it. Or I don't have to, but I can see what it's going to generate. And I see it's on an image model that I cannot use. So let me go to the next one and generate that. It's really quick, and then you can download them, and they're safe to use. You can put them in lessons, embed them into Canvas or Google Classroom. They have a download button. And if you have the version that educators have, you can also go and add text or other things to them. There's a little button there, and it sends you to the text image area. So great to use, super safe. If I try to do something that, I'll show you how it has a safety. So if I do another prompt, it's one of the things I don't like about it is it doesn't have kind of a refresh page. It goes right back to there. So if I just do like something like make a stormtrooper, it will not let me do it. It'll just say no. It should say no. Let's see if it says no. Or not do that. Oh, it did. Okay. It didn't do that before. That's crazy. So it didn't really do the Star Wars one. It made an idea of a stormtrooper. So let's do an actor. And it should also not do it. Let's see what happens. I'm surprised it's actually doing anything. So it didn't do Alec Baldwin. So that's what people go, oh, it didn't do my thing. And you always get this error, you did something I'm not going to allow you to do. So it's a safe space. I'm actually surprised it did this at all. Any questions on that?
Well, if you had said make a Star Wars stormtrooper, it would have given you that message.
Let's try that. So yeah, Star Wars should prompt it to give me that error, right? It's IP that you can't use. So right now it's going, nope. It's going to give me the error. Yeah, there's the error.
And IP stands for intellectual property. Just to decode.
So if I do this and other things, it'll just do it. So I like to show the safe ones as far as in the education space for sure. Awesome. Okay, let's see, where were we? Okay. There's a couple from there that you saw, and they're really great for lessons. This is probably the most common way that students use ChatGPT or any of the AI is you see them walking around talking to their phone all day, and I realized when I went on vacation with my kids, they're actually talking to ChatGPT, not their friends, because why would they talk to their friends when they can text? So this is easier for most people. And the reason I like this ChatGPT with voice and Gemini is that it can see the world. So I use it when I'm traveling to like take a picture of something in another language, and then, or I'm looking at this sign, like what does it say, and it'll just tell me back what it says. And I really love using ChatGPT with voice. I was wondering in here how many people use ChatGPT with voice, because I love doing it, and I'll demonstrate it for a second if you don't mind. I'll share my screen and do it. So I love doing this. Let's see, share my desktop. And you'll see me sharing my phone in a second, hopefully. All right. So you see, I actually just did this yesterday. Hey ChatGPT, we're in a webinar learning how you work. Let's talk about using calculators in a high school math class.
Absolutely. Let's dive into that. So using calculators in a high school math class is kind of one of those classic topics where you can take a pretty forward-looking view.
Okay.
It's not just a...
ChatGPT, I'm going to interrupt you. Just give me a table and explain the top 5 calculators for working in algebra and algebra 2 trig.
For sure. Let me lay it out that way. So if we look at the top 5 calculators that are really great for algebra and algebra 2 trig, here's a quick little rundown. Our calculators with key features, why it's good for algebra trig, T85 plus, super popular,
right.
Lots of functions, graphing capabilities. It's a classic in classrooms and handles all the algebra and trig essentials. Or TI84 plus CE, like the TI84 but with the color screen and a bit more memory. Great for visual learners who want to see graphs in color.
ChatGPT. I just uploaded an image. Can you tell me what that is? Or maybe I didn't upload it. Or let me do this.
No worries. I can definitely see the image you uploaded. It looks like you've got a nice...
Okay, so it gave me a chart. It's going to tell me about my calculator and my microphone I'm using and everything else. So it's very powerful to use for things that you want to see in the world, or if you want to see your own screen, like you're learning some kind of software, like the latest Copilot with PowerPoint. Using this, you can see everything. It can see everything and explain it to you. So students love it because they're like, "Hey, I'm trying to do this homework assignment, and here's what it looks like." And they press the picture of the video camera, and then they can see their homework, and then have it explain it to them. Or they're just asking questions like, "Hey, I'm in Japan and I want to go to this place. Give me the subway route." Da 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 da. And so they don't even stop moving. They just keep going. They're very, very confident with it. It's pretty amazing. So, questions on that? So, yeah, my students of all ages love both ChatGPT and Gemini with voice. So it's just easy to use, and it's
Now,
pretty revolutionary that you can see your screen. But yeah, go ahead.
Raina, I know you do a lot of international travel with your training, and I believe you had shared an instance with me where that came in so handy when you
Yes.
were traveling. So,
Yeah. So I stayed in a. I was in Japan in Hakone, and we were in a place that there was nothing in English. So two things I didn't know how to use. One was a hot water thing, and all the instructions were in English, were in Japanese, and I needed to make hot water. Another one was the remote control was no English characters. So I just had to look at those, and then it literally gave me the whole thing in an overlaid English, and so I could use, and then gave me an explanation on how to use those things. It's so easy, but impossible before. I love that. So it does understand non-English characters now, which is great. That's a really good one. So we're getting close to time, but let me just finish a couple other examples. There's something I do in class. All my students like animals, especially my older students. So I ask them to prompt and do a scene, and it takes about a minute. So what's revolutionary about this is it's doing the sound effects, and if I had voices or script, it would do, right now it's making animal sounds, but it would actually do your script for you. And VEO3, that's Gemini's video engine. It's the most powerful right now. And we can generate, I think, a couple, 2 or 3 videos a day with our EDU account. So it's really amazing. Here's another one that I use a lot for, sometimes I'm very comfortable doing my own lecture stuff, but if I want to do an avatar or even just me talking, I use 11 Labs and Hey Gen. So I can just type my script in there. I made an avatar of myself, and here's what it did.
Artificial intelligence is transforming the way we live,
Hey all,
learn, and
this
work.
is Dr. Wolsinger's avatar, exploring how to use avatars in education. We are using HeyGen, exploring the possibilities.
That's another one I use for free to, for kind of fun. You can upload anything. I could be like a Lego figure, or I can be the real me, and it's getting more natural at providing you with content. And sometimes people don't like to be on screen, and sometimes my students don't. I want them to explain something, and they'll use an avatar. So HeyGen is one of those applications that's easy to use and free. Here's another version with me and HeyGen. I made this little thing I think I made that in ChatGPT actually.
Artificial intelligence.
Let's see if I get it to do this one. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Artificial intelligence is transforming the way we live, learn, and work. But with this innovation comes a profound ethical responsibility. We must ensure that AI systems are fair, transparent, and free from bias.
So I had no idea it was gonna understand how to animate a Lego figure. That super shocked me, but it seems to be able to animate anything and then match it with your script that you type.
And 11 Labs is good at translating into multiple languages. So if you have a particular student who's not very good, is ESL, and you have something critical, you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, 11 Labs, you can go in there and type anything, and there's all the languages are in there. And so sometimes I provide stuff. Actually, I do have a lot of ESL students in my senior class, and then they're actually doing the translations themselves and putting it in discussions in different languages. It's pretty awesome to watch them do that. Linda, do you want to take this one on ethical AI?
Sure. So in terms of ethical AI, again, we have to watch for hidden biases in the AI tools. That means you have all white instructors, can you do some differences in the ethnicity, in the cultural background, the students, what they look like, making sure that you have a good representation in all of your images. It's something we don't think about, but we need to think about. Transparency, tools that you use should have explainable results. So if you use any one of these tools that Marina's been demonstrating, you should be able to understand and explain what it's doing. Is it giving you a translation? Is it giving you a summary? Is it giving you an overview? What is its biases? Okay. Accountability. Personally, I think instructors need to model when they use AI, that they give credit to AI. Rena mentioned that if you do an image, you would put in that you have created that image in Firefly or some other program, Gemini. And we have a free class, AI Information Literacy for college students. I put it in the chat, and it shows you how to do those citations correctly. Always protecting student data, as include into that with all of the FERPA requirements. But I think it's important that we teach our students how to get into the LLMs correctly so that their privacy is maintained. There's a lot of talk also on the students of today, the high school students, college students that are young, are using AI as counselors, and they don't always get really good results from that. So sending them to AI for all of their needs is not good, making sure that they know that AI is not always their best source for mental health, okay? Inclusivity, we did with the bias and fairness, but inclusivity also includes disabilities. So making sure that if we have a student who has a particular disability, that we help them, whether it's physical disability, hearing disability, sight disability. Our AI use has to also reflect that. So intellectual property, clarify the ownership of the AI generated content. We covered that. Spotting fake or altered content. That's getting harder and harder. I put in the chat that the one anti-plagiarism that I have been most impressed with is GPT-0. But you have to have an account. The college has to pay for it. It'll come right into the LMS. But they do so much in educating. And I think as we design our assignments, that we can teach them how to use AI and where to use AI. And then we can take portions of what we think is fake and we can ask AI to tell us, was this generated by AI? And then using AI to enhance, not replace human creativity. We always have to have the students to student contact and interaction. That's part of our resi as we teach online. But AI can enhance and say, okay, I don't have time. Give this as practice for you. And I think that that's possible. Question in here is, do we select the course by today's date in the feedback survey? Judy, I'll let you do that one.
Do which one?
There's a question in the chat about this feedback survey.
Oh, yeah, try again. I had to refresh it. So you should see 919 in today's training there in the drop down.
Thank you.
Do we select the course by today's date in the feedback survey? So yes.
I want to say one thing about the tools for plagiarism and finding AI. So in my student panel last week, we had a bunch of students from English classes, and I agree with Linda. ChatGPT 0 is the best one, but they got up there and said, well, we have tools to anti-battle your detectors. So
They do.
we're like, oh, cool. So I don't know. I mean, it's, and usually I've had all kinds of feedback from instructors. Sometimes they ask a student if they cheated, and they'll say no, or sometimes they'll say I didn't know if this was cheating, or all kinds of different responses. So it's all over the map. So it's kind of tough out there to to figure out these conversations. But it is important to have these conversations and teach them the right ways to do these, and be open about it, and have your own classroom policies. So at the end of this, we just have some responsible use information. You're going to have access to these slides. So and these are all the things we talked about.
Just talked about.
Yeah, just talked about. You'll have these to keep. Inclusivity, accessibility, these are all the top ones for us. Accountability, providing education and training, not only to us, but to the students. They want it. I've heard them say that many times, so they do want to know what you expect and what is cheating, what is not cheating. I made a little slide in Midjourney for questions. My little animal tribe. If there's any questions here. And I do want to give you this website, eduvators.net. We have a lot of free resources and downloads on eduvators.net, and as well as certifications for, and we have a free class for everything we talked about. The students should know. We have a free class for them on that as well. I'll let Linda describe that. And here's our little slide on everything about eduvators. So, Linda, do you want to say anything about the certifications?
Yeah, our certifications are on different levels because we had a framework of AI competency. And so we start at the incidental user, and then we get up to the next level that you're exploring the tools. We have you do projects as well as post to our community, share your project ideas. And then we have a couple of others that are a little higher up. So we're not here to sell you. That's not what we're here for today, but you can go to Eduvators and learn about those. They are certificates you can download. They're digital badges you can share. If you are an adjunct and you're looking for a full-time position, they certainly can help you because that's the big thing these days. You know, is what do you know about AI? What can you do with AI? And we have 2 more slides, Rena.
Oh, sorry. Whoops. We do.
Yes. So if you're interested in the free GPT-5 course, you can go to our website. You can get a discount by putting in LARC1 in the discount coupon code if you want to buy one of those courses or a workshop. And you just have to create an account. That offer's good for 30 days.
Yeah, we just updated that course as well. I actually yesterday added some more free stuff because put some new stuff in there because it changed again, but it's a really good one. And
we have a feedback form. We'll put that link for our feedback form into the, let me grab that. So if you don't mind doing the second feedback, and Judy, you'll share the feedback with us too.
Absolutely.
awesome.
So there's our feedback form.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you everyone who joined us today. Thank you, Raina and Linda, for sharing all of that information with us. Every time I go to learn something, I think I've learned, there's so much more to learn every day. And so we really appreciate your time and your expertise. For everyone else, again, thank you for joining us. Please know that all of these trainings are recorded. And next week, we will be launching our LARC AI Learning Library, where you will be able to access these videos and so much more. Thank you to those who completed the feedback form. If you didn't, please click the link before we close so you can complete it. If you have any questions, feel free. I'm going to drop my email in the chat.
I was asked to share the second to the last slide. That is the second to last slide.
And yes, feel free to follow up with any of us with any other questions you may have after some time has set in. You know, sometimes you think of questions after the fact. So we're still here for you even after the professional development dedicated time ends. So I wish all of you a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you at the next training. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everybody.